Hey gang, it's November 1st, 2024. Almost said 2004. The greenhouse is finally operational again as far as being able to grow fish in the pool and then using the fish water to grow plants. So I'm going to do a quick summary of where we stand. It's been a while, but here's like a quick one, you know. So here's the greenhouse. For those that don't know, this was an in-ground pool on the property, but the liner was busted when we moved here. So what we did, essentially, like, I've dug the deep end, the old deep end down so that it's like 12.5 feet deep, and then I used the spoil to create this like retaining wall around the old deep end and create the pool. So the reinforcements, it's like these steel posts go down quite a ways. I think they're 8-foot posts. This is all like cinder block with concrete and rebar in it, and then like there's these heavy duty plastic mats that are used in construction that create the walls, and then a layer of chain link fence to hold those things in. So it's pretty well reinforced, and that was of course before there was the force of the water pushing against the side, so mostly to keep it from falling into itself when I was creating it. But now it's got the weight of the water pushing against the wall, so that's all secure. So basically at the bottom of this 12-foot pool is a intake for this white pipe, which comes up to a 1 horsepower pump, and then that blasts water up, and then essentially like 2/3 of the water goes back to the pool through these, and 1/3 goes over into these biofilters. So there's 4 biofilters in a series. This first one is called a vortex tank. Basically all it is like, you know, the water comes into the tank pushing down in like a cyclone fashion. So like any kind of sediment or larger particles would kind of drift to the bottom of this, and the only way out is up through the top into a tube that goes into this first of the biofilters. This is full of media. I guess I should show you as we go. So into this is the first, where there's this stuff called K1. It's just plastic media. It looks like honeycomb cereal, but that provides a great amount of surface area for bacteria to live. So this is tank 1, goes through those holes and into tank 2. Same concept. Honeycomb, honeycomb. Me love honeycomb. And then the third tank, this has at the bottom an upturned elbow, so it's got a little bit of different action in here. There's still some algae that somehow like ends up in this tank, which is weird. But this guy is the last of the 3rd treatment drums, and then everything comes out of it into that tube, which runs along the old diving board, and then back into the pool. So this water here is in theory filtered. I don't like that focus problem. And then this black pipe just has like, you know, overflow from the first vortex tank. So that's pretty important to me, because if that pipe, this flow rate here, helps tell me that my pump is not overloaded. So this is gonna, you know, indicate just like proper overflow, proper flow rates, because otherwise I have no idea. If that pump sucks up junk from the bottom and gets overloaded, I have no way of knowing that, because it's not hooked up any like I don't know, reducing sensors or anything like that. So over here, this gutter on the outside of the greenhouse has a, like, it goes to a big old 375 gallon tank on the outside, and that's plumbed up into the greenhouse through these, so I can use the rain tank to refill this thing. I've actually emptied the tank out, so I don't think we're gonna see any today. It hasn't rained here in quite a bit, but that's not crucial right now because the water level is fine. You can see like the return hoses, I've added these like reducers to kind of like jet the water out and kind of just move this around, make sure algae's not kind of clogging up. And today, you know, a little spoiler alert, I got 50 channel catfish fingerlings that are basically ready to go. Hard to see, but this water is finally clean enough to release fish again and grow them up. So what happens to the fish water? These drums, when they're ready, I drain them out into this pipe here, this white one, and this comes all the way down to this 55-gallon drum. So like the junk water, old algae, all the gunk from the bottom of the drums goes in here where there's no aerator and no essentially like what's it called, no agitation going on. So this, all the junk settles to the bottom, and I can then decant like through a siphon. I'm going to bring that clean water over into this underground tank. This is a 275 gallon tank under this. There's our dog. Essentially I just put it in, like the siphon ends up in this, you know, pipe that brings it into the tank. This is my little like level indicator, homemade, but that lets me know like how deep the tank is. This tank water is used to fuel the plants, so it goes into this pump, and then this pump brings everything into the grow beds. So this bed was planted a long time ago. It's mostly basil and some Swiss chard, but you can see it's doing great. The Swiss chard is a cold weather crop, so I hope it'll hang in there for much of the fall into winter. These grow beds essentially like fill up with water. This is all just pea gravel, hand washed by me. It fills up like a bathtub, and then it triggers a siphon called a bell siphon, which empties the entire tank out again. So over the course of the day, these things fill up, I don't know, maybe 12 times. Haven't measured that. You can see the flow rates behind these little curtains. I put the curtains on so algae wouldn't grow, but at all times this is flowing. So that's kind of fun, you know. Whoever invented the bell siphon, fantastic invention. It allows like this stuff to water itself. So you can see I've planted, this is romaine, some other kind of lettuce. These little guys are iceberg. This is like some kind of fancy basil. Each drum, you know, we just kind of threw some stuff around. This one's got kale and lettuce. This is actually celery, which I thought might do real well because this is essentially a bathtub that drains back down again. I was like, well, celery might do well in here, but we'll see. It's the end of the growing season basically, so I'm going to try and keep these things going. This is collard greens, which seem to be thriving in the pea gravel, but spinach does not seem to be thriving so much. I can get some stuff to germinate, but it just doesn't seem to like really love this little environment here. It might be the time of year, it might be the just growing in pea gravel. Cilantro, more basil. Basil seems to really love the hydroponic setup. So this side over here is all independent of the fish pool, but this is the notion. This is hydroponics over here, fueled by the fish waste, and aquaponics is the combo of the two, so that this water is filtered by plants, and then it can go back. I may as well show you how it goes back. This valve here, if I turn this, you know, it's gonna make the water not go to the grow beds, but rather go into the fish pool, goes down here, over the gravel, blah, blah, blah. And then it's basically shooting back filtered clean plant water back into the fish pool. And then, you know, I basically watch the little dipstick float. And once that kind of goes down to that, you know, fatter line, I know that I've got room enough to siphon this 55-gallon tank down and into here. At the end of the siphoning, I basically suspend the siphon at near the bottom a couple inches so it doesn't suck up that crapola at the bottom, rather just the clean water at the top. But I never want to overfill my tank underground, and I really can't see the water level, so that little floater dipstick helps me know how much room I gotta go. Turn that off, return stuff to the grow bed. But that's the scoop, you know. It's doing pretty well. I've got to get, like, the fish pool has been empty. I've been trying to just get the nitrate levels down from a previous fish adventure when I didn't have a filter. But now the nitrate is acceptable. So I threw some rosy red minnows a while ago, and I hope they're doing okay. Hopefully, like, trying to eat some of the algae that's in here. And then little bugs have, like, made their way into the pool, of course. But today's the day, so I'm going to release 50 channel cats once that water is kind of acclimated to the temperature, and I hope they will be happy in here. There you have it. So fan kicks on at like 86 degrees. Things are controlled by these thermostats. The thermostats open the louvers at like 82 degrees. And then I've got a little more to do, just kind of like, you know, making some tables and stuff like that. But it's been a lot of work, but it's finally doing great. Let me show you how well my poison ivy patch is doing. You know, that's doing great. It really likes it in here. So I got to take that out at some point too. But that's the scoop.